Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some kind of intriguing things going on over here when it comes to Nintendo. Nintendo is actually a huge, massive decline, and as well, they also Nintendo Super Switch, Switch Pro, whatever you guys want to go call it, is actually now once again getting back in the rumors and the news, where, well, we're kind of expecting them sooner rather than later. So if you guys do usually know when it comes to earnings calls and big companies, basically having a chance to go and discuss and talk about what they're expecting throughout the next year, what games they're expecting throughout the next year, how much money they're expecting to go and make, and it does kind of seem like the Nintendo Switch may have actually peaked, and as well, this also kind of segueing us into the next upcoming Super Switch, Switch Pro, whatever you guys want to go and call it. So we're going to talk about this, talk about the earnings call, talk about the numbers, and everything else in between. As well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. We're probably hanging out on Twitch right now. Of course, we also have the Amazon links for the nice little consoles, and make sure you guys are subscribed and give me your thoughts and comments down below. So, kind of like the bigger news, if you guys have actually had a chance to see, the PlayStation has been doing quite well, doing a lot of good sales, bolstering up numbers, doing very well globally, while the Xbox Series XS and as well, surprisingly, the Nintendo Switch have all actually been doing kind of somewhat rough. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a negative article when it comes to Nintendo, because it has been kind of technically worse in comparison to the prior years, but at the same time, it's going to be a lot better in comparison to these next upcoming, hopefully the next year or two, if the next Super Nintendo Switch Pro comes out. So we're going to talk about this, where sadly, the Nintendo Switch sales have actually plunged 22%, and the gaming giant expects even further and bigger declines. Now, if you guys usually kind of want to know this, it kind of makes sense, mainly because we've been seeing a lot of, it's an older console. Basically, sales go down. There's less people inside, as well as also we have bigger competition. Some folks are just moving towards the actual PlayStation 5 and Xbox, and as well, there is no really big major game selling right now for the Nintendo Switch. Granted, we do have Tears of the Kingdom coming out in like 3 days. That may go and affect sales, but after this and after that, it's not going to be affecting too much. And don't forget, a lot of folks probably already bought it for the first initial Zelda game as well. So for the key points, Nintendo reported a fall in profit and revenue in the fiscal year driven by a drop in sales of its flagship Switch console. The Japanese gaming giant sold 17.97 million units of its flagship Nintendo Switch console series, roughly in line with its own forecast of 18 million units for the fiscal year. The fiscal year ended March 2021. Coming up next, Nintendo actually forecast even less sales of the Nintendo Switch. So, let's go do a high-level breakdown, do a little bit more into this one. Basically, Nintendo has not been selling as many Switch consoles, and their gaming has also been a little bit on the slacking side. One of the big things to kind of note on the big picture, we keep on expecting a Super Nintendo, Nintendo Switch, Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever you want to go call it, and a lot of folks are now on the speculation side, where we only have Pikmin 4 after the brand new Zelda game, and there's basically nothing really padding up the rest of the year. Now, we still have some probably big conferences we'll see throughout the summer, and there's obviously going to be games coming out soon, but right now a lot of folks are speculating that the Nintendo is basically trying their best to go and set up for the Switch Pro. Now, a lot of this makes sense because, number one, the hardware is getting dated. We know gamers have been complaining about it being dated. The most recent games have even had issues in terms of porting games over, as well as frame issues, and of course, at some point, you need to go move up to the next gen console. So right now, with them having basically saying we're not gonna have any major big plans in terms of the next year or so from their earnings calls, it pretty much means that we're once again kind of expecting up the next Switch Pro. So Nintendo actually reported a fall in profit and revenue in the fiscal year, driven by a drop in sales of its flagship Switch console for its full fiscal year, which ran from April 2022 to March 31st this year. Nintendo reported revenue of 1.6 trillion yen, thankfully meeting its own forecast, and that was a 5.5% year-on-year decline. Nintendo reported a 400 billion yen in net profit for the fiscal year, down more, though, than 9% year-on-year. However, it's better than the actual company's own forecast, and if you guys don't know, traditionally, like, a company's gonna be like, hey, this next year, it might be harder because we're on, say, year 7 of our console. But we have other cool things in the works, so if our stock price goes down a little bit, don't worry, we're working on stuff for the future to kind of basically go and bolster up the stock, profit, and like shareholders to make sure they're happy. It's kind of like, hey man, we're going to be releasing up this really cool game, say, in the holiday season. Holiday season usually has a lot of sales. Oh, okay, the stock will probably do then good, and we'll go look for the numbers at then. So right now, I think a lot of folks kind of just know in common knowledge, Nintendo's a good company. It's stable. It still makes money. It still prints money, but some years may fluctuate, especially with like a 6-year console on the run. So the Japanese gaming giant sold around 18 million units of its flagship Nintendo Switch console, which was still very good, although it does kind of seem like the PlayStation 5 will actually be beating that. That compares to over 23 million Switch units sold in the fiscal year ending as well, a 22% decline. They did go and still say the shortages of semiconductors and other components impacted production until around the end of the summer, which was as of last year. It kind of matches up too as well with the PlayStation 5, and the company did not experience the growth in sales, mainly during the holiday season, which also makes sense. There wasn't any really big major flagship games that came out, and as well, a lot of folks already had their Switches. On top of that, other consoles were in stock, all that type of stuff. So for the fiscal year ending in March 2024, Nintendo forecasted a sale of 15 million units for the Switch. Now, to kind of get on the Switch Pro talk / speculation, obviously, if the sales in the consoles are going down, and also we're kind of overdue for another console, we're not going to let Nintendo go and sit here and have it be like, yeah, we're going to sell 18, then 15, then 12, and at a certain point be like 8. No, as I'm dying over here, don't mind me. So basically, when it comes to this stuff, also, by the way, if I ever take a break, it's probably because I'm like, I talk so much, my throat's been coming. So basically, as we go through all this stuff, it kind of goes to show that a lot of these different types of consoles are overdue. And I think everyone agrees on this one. Nintendo is not really in the business of losing money. They want to keep making money and doing as much money as they possibly can. And as well, with it being on the market for so long, either people already have them or people go for something better, like a PC, PS5, or Xbox. And as well, they also had to go and force and slash their forecast for their Switch sales for quite some time. Now, once again, we haven't really seen too many other big components when it comes to upcoming games, like big game releases and everything else in between. And, well, at least in my mind, it just kind of makes sense for us to get this Pro back over here. So Nintendo shares are still up, though, 3.6, and Sony's is actually up 25, but at the same time, Nintendo for 3% is not really that much. I mean, we've got a little bit of a bear market, but even then, still Nintendo's kind of been slacking. So Switch actually apparently keeps on having and past its peak. Where now, this is why people, once again, are pushing for a Switch Pro, because I myself would buy a Switch Pro. I would be ready to buy a Switch Pro. I would want a Switch Pro. And I want a better games. I want like at least a good solid 1080p, better frame rates, and give me a Pokemon game where it's not lagging when I'm throwing a Pokeball, and I'll probably be pretty happy. So Nintendo Switch had a fantastic run, but it's definitely past its peak. And I would probably agree on this with myself, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. Everyone right now is just patiently waiting for Nintendo's next move. A lot of people are excited for Tears of the Kingdom, myself included. I'm very hyped up for it. But at the same time, the game needs more gusto. Like, I want the game to be running perfectly, and it kind of made me sad we didn't actually see a brand new Switch Pro on release with the brand new Zelda. It would actually match a lot with the first initial Breath of the Wild release when I remember playing day one getting the game. So based on the forecast for the new fiscal year, I would not expect any miracles, but rather a company running on autopilot and fulfilling its duty towards existing Switch users. Every console cycle comes to an end eventually, and Nintendo 2 now needs a piece of hardware to revitalize its sales. And I agree. Like, I think most of you guys watching this video would probably agree. A Switch Pro is needed. It's wanted. People want it. I want it. Other people want it. Give us a good price. Give it some decent specs. And don't make it like so instantly outdated where it's like a PS3. Give me like a PS4 Pro, and I'd probably be okay with like a slightly more handheld, like less crazy specs, and just more of like a specialized handheld version of a game. But now don't forget, we also have things like the Steam Deck, which are also going against Nintendo, which adds a lot more kind of competition, which hopefully also mean that Nintendo will step up their games even more. Although a lot of times Nintendo just doesn't care when it comes to them. So the key for Nintendo now is how it can use to make revenue from its 114 million annual paying users. The gaming giant has a strong range of games and recognized characters from Pokemon to Mario. Although, as I once again want to say, after Tears of the Kingdom, this is going to be a very good game, don't get me wrong. We don't really have anything super big lined up. We do have Pikmin 4, maybe a new Metroid game too as well, but right now we don't have like a new Mario game planned up and a lot of other very popular franchises. So I'm sure Zelda's going to do great and probably sell a bajillion different units and basically put the company on its back, but once again, we still need to have something else to keep driving Nintendo onwards and upwards as well. So the company still forecasts software sales of 180 million units into the current fiscal year, making exports, basically assuming it's going to be even more of a bigger decline over time. So Nintendo said it expects all profit to fall from 21% to 34 billion yen by the ending year of March 2024. Now that kind of gets us once again on the Switch Pro release dates, because a lot of folks are curious because if they're trying to say they're going to be losing money, that there might not actually be an upcoming console throughout this holiday season. We don't fully know, but if they're also saying projecting their numbers are going down, that also might go and mean that Nintendo might even delay out a Switch Pro even longer. Now, I want one ASAP, but at the same time, if they can make it better, make it nicer, make it cheaper over time, I'd be okay with that. I'd be 100% okay with that. But the one set of things for us to kind of know is, well, It's not out yet, hasn't been announced yet. So if they're kind of projecting all these future things, it might not be the best for the Switch Pro. I still want them, I'm sure they're working on it without a doubt. Like they need to. Every console company is always working on something new. But at this day and age, like I'm surprised they didn't try to launch it with Zelda and everything else in between. A little bit sad about it. So give me your thoughts because it does seem like Nintendo's on a huge, well, decline. Might be in trouble. Their stock's not doing as well. And without a Switch Pro, they actually might be kind of slacking even more. And of course, I'm still excited for the Tears of the Kingdom. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna play it. But at the same time, Zelda and Mario can only kind of carry you for so long. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, or check out the Amazon links, hang out on the Twitter or Twitch down below as well. And of course, let me know if you guys could go pick up a Switch Pro day one or not. I kind of want to know. Make sure you guys are subscribed. I appreciate you guys all so much for existing, and I'll see you guys up tomorrow for more videos.